One of the most serious threats inside the Medicare system today is not coming from hospitals, not from doctors, but from scammers trying to steal Americans' Medicare numbers. Medicare has issued very clear warnings. If someone calls, texts, emails, or contacts people through social media asking for a Medicare number, Americans should never share that information. What makes these scams especially dangerous is how professional they sound. Scammers often say things like, "Your Medicare card is about to be suspended." "You must verify your information immediately." "You qualify for free medical equipment." "We need to send you a new Medicare card." They create a sense of urgency to pressure older Americans into acting quickly out of fear. But Medicare strongly warns people should never give out their Medicare number or Social Security number simply because someone claims to work for Medicare. This is an extremely important rule because once a Medicare number falls into the wrong hands, it can be used to create fraudulent billing claims, charge Medicare for services never received, commit medical identity theft, or carry out healthcare fraud schemes. And in many cases, people do not discover the fraud until they notice unusual Medicare summary, notices suspicious medical charges, or services they never actually received. That is why Medicare advises Americans to regularly review Medicare summary, notices, medical bills, statements, receipts, and records of healthcare services. If suspicious activity appears, people can contact 1-800 Medicare to report potential fraud or medical identity theft. One simple but critical rule is this: if someone unexpectedly calls asking for your Medicare number, stop immediately. Do not provide information. Do not verify numbers. Do not read information from your Medicare card. Instead, hang up and call Medicare or your insurance plan directly using the official phone number printed on your card. One of the biggest misunderstandings in the American benefits system is this: if someone loses Medicaid, they must have done something wrong. But in reality, that is often completely untrue. Many Americans lose Medicaid not because of fraud, not because they lied, and not because they intentionally tried to deceive the government. In many situations, the reason is simply missing paperwork, missed deadlines, lost mail, or administrative system errors. And this is something millions of older Americans, working families, and low-income households were never fully taught to understand. Medicaid does not operate like Social Security. The first thing people need to understand is this: Medicaid is a federal-state program. That means the federal government creates the overall legal framework, but each individual state runs its own system. Texas has different procedures from California. Florida operates differently from New York. Each state may have different forms, different deadlines, different verification systems, and different communication processes. But no matter how different state systems may be, they are still required to follow federal law regarding due process, notice requirements, appeal rights, and fair hearings. These are not special favors. They are legal rights protected under federal law. What really happens? When someone loses Medicaid, many people assume Medicaid is only terminated when income becomes too high or fraud is discovered. But across America today, many terminations happen because of administrative problems. One of the most common examples is failure to return renewal forms. Medicaid regularly requires beneficiaries to verify income, address, household members, and employment status. If renewal notices are missed, mail is lost, people move, or paperwork is submitted too late, the system may automatically terminate coverage. Not because the person was ineligible, but because the case file was never completed before the deadline. When the system cannot reach people. This has become a major problem across the United States. Millions of Americans change phone numbers, move to new addresses, temporarily stay with relatives, or rarely check physical mail. If the Medicaid office mails notices that get returned, cannot reach someone by phone, or receives no response, the case may automatically close. and many people only discover they lost Medicaid when they arrive at a doctor's office, go to a pharmacy, or suddenly need emergency medical care. Administrative mismatches. Few Americans understand. This is one of the least understood problems in the Medicaid system. Modern Medicaid systems are often connected to the IRS, Social Security databases, SNAP systems, unemployment records, wage reporting systems, and immigration databases. If information between systems does not match, a case may be flagged for review. For example, the system may incorrectly assume income increased when in reality it was only temporary overtime, or outdated data was never updated properly. Even small clerical errors such as incorrect Social Security numbers, wrong birth dates, outdated addresses, or household information mismatches can trigger eligibility problems. And the most important thing Americans must understand is this. This is not fraud. This is an administrative mismatch. But the consequences are very real. People can suddenly lose healthcare coverage. Medicaid unwinding. After COVID-19, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government implemented continuous coverage protections. That meant many states were temporarily prohibited from removing people from Medicaid during the public health emergency. But once the emergency ended, states began reviewing millions of Medicaid cases again. This process became known as Medicaid unwinding. And the result was dramatic. Millions of Americans lost Medicaid coverage. What is especially important is this: many people did not lose coverage because they were truly ineligible. According to CMS and Medicaid.gov, a large percentage lost benefits for procedural reasons such as missing paperwork, incomplete renewals, administrative errors, or failure to respond to notices. That is why legal aid organizations and advocacy groups across America continue warning people to check their mail carefully, update addresses immediately, respond quickly to verification requests, and never ignore notices from Medicaid offices. One of the most important parts of Medicaid law is this: people have the legal right to challenge state decisions. This process is called a fair hearing. If Medicaid coverage is terminated, reduced, or denied, people have the right to request a hearing, submit additional evidence, ask for a case review, and formally challenge the decision. This is critically important because a termination letter is not always the final decision. In many cases, people successfully win appeals. That is why the biggest mistake people can make is remaining silent and giving up immediately. The most important thing Americans need to understand: Medicaid is not simply a government gift that can be taken away at any moment. If a person qualifies under the law, they have the right to receive proper notice, receive an explanation, file an appeal, request a hearing, and receive fair treatment under procedural due process. Protections. These are not acts of generosity. They are core legal principles built into the American administrative system. And that is exactly why a termination letter should never automatically be treated as the end. It should be treated as a warning sign that immediate action may be necessary to protect legal rights and healthcare coverage.